Today's quick DJ tip is about the gain controls on a mixer. They're called level or trim or gain. They're the ones right here at the very top of each of your channels on your mixer, your controller, whatever. All but the very cheapest controllers have these controls at the top. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 tips for using these controls. If you're not sure what they're for, if you find you hardly ever touch them, and if you find yourself doing some of the things I'm about to talk to you about in your preparing of your music, I'm about to tell you that you can make your life a lot easier, make your mixes a lot smoother, and even make difficult mixes sound better just by knowing what these are for and how to use them. This is Digital DJ Tips, where we teach DJing, review DJ gear, and bring you the latest DJ industry news. Let's get started on gain controls then. So gain controls come from mixers in recording studios, big mixers where they have 24 channels or even more. Every single one of those channels that look like these channels on DJ controllers, right, has one of these at the top. And if you understand how they work in a recording studio, it makes it easy to understand what they're meant for on DJ equipment. So in a recording studio, if you think about it, those big mixers that have got lots of channels on, they'll have a chunk of channels for the drums, a chunk of channels for all the vocals, maybe the main vocal, the harmony vocal, the backing vocals, another chunk of channels that might handle the different bass sounds and synthesizers, and so on, to make up all the tracks that are used to create one finished song. And each of those individual inputs, and I mean, we literally are talking things like a cymbal, a kick drum. I mean, the difference in volume between a cymbal and a kick drum, right? The whole point of the gain control then is to make the incoming level on that particular channel the same as all the other channels. And that means it's nice and loud, but not too loud. Once you've done that, all your other controls are most useful, because if the incoming channel is nice and loud, but not too loud, then you can happily play with the EQ. You can happily add or remove effects. You know that when the faders are at the top, it's going to be coming through at full volume, but not distorting anything. And you can take away to make it quieter. And overall, you know that you've got the right input volume so that when you mix it with something else, they're going to balance. And so these controls here are designed to make sure that whatever the input in a mixer, it's at the optimum volume for everything else in the chain to do its job. That's the first thing, right? So how does that translate to DJing? Well, when you're DJing, nowadays, a lot of DJ software, a lot of DJ gear, and a lot of modern productions are produced to within, an ounce of the loudest they can possibly be, which is why you often hear DJs say, oh, I just leave my gain, trim, level controls at 11 o'clock. And that's fine if you're mixing music that's been made recently, all of the same genre or whatever. But as soon as you're mixing in a source that isn't, could be anything from a microphone to another DJ's controller to a record that's literally playing on a record deck to just an MP3 from 30 years ago that hasn't got the same dynamics and the same over compression and the same volume of modern music. Well, you've got a couple of choices, and none of those choices are better than the gain control for fixing it. So your choices could be that you're going to turn all of these up to compensate. So if I make the lows, mids and highs all higher, then it's going to make a quiet track louder, right? Or it could be that you just end up turning the master volume up just to make it sound as loud as all the others. But then the others are getting louder as well, so you've got to turn those down. It all gets very messy if you don't do the obvious, which is just turn up the gain control for the quiet input. So how do you know that the gain control is at the right volume for any particular input? Easy. You start a track playing at the loudest part in the track. Before you do anything else, you load a track onto your deck or you get a track playing into your mixer and you go to the loudest part. So I've got a track loaded here. This bit here looks pretty loud. I'm going to click play on that then and have it coming through here. And I'm going to use the gain control. In this instance, to get it so it's peaking up into the orange, but not into the red. I got it up into the orange and then turned it down. That gain control is now fine for that track. That track cannot distort that channel, but it's nice and loud. Job done. It took me longer to explain it than to do it. You end up just doing it straight off the cuff, right? That's it. So here are the tips then for using your gain controls. Number one, do that every time. It's simple. You don't need to analyze your music. People often say, oh, is there something in my software that will let me get everything the same volume? Well, there is. There's auto gain functions that can do this for you. But what if you then need to switch to a CDJ or a record or another DJ or a microphone or something else, some other kind of input coming into here, a drum machine or a synthesizer or a sequencer or the output from an effects unit? You need to know how to just quickly tweak this so that the loudest input signal on that channel isn't going into the red, but it's nice and loud, right? It's simple when you put it that way. It's obvious. So tip number one, do that and make sure all your inputs are balanced. It means that everything you do down here is sounding good. So tip number two, and this is becoming more relevant nowadays because we have things like stems. So this track I just put on there, I could push that down to just the a cappella, right? Let's go back and have another listen to that track. So this track here has got so I've extracted a little bit of a vocal from that just by putting the a cappella on here and putting a loop on it. It's just looping a pretty ropey little vocal, right? Now look here, look at this input level. This is the bit I want to use. I've chosen the bit I want to use, or I want to use this vocal. Let's say I just want to use that vocal there in a loop over something else, right? Right, that's what I want to do. Now this is my input. I'm not going to play the whole song here. I don't need to tune this for the whole song. What I need to do is, now I've looped the bit I want this bit of a cappella for my DJing, I can use the gain control to get this bit of a cappella nice and loud. So it's not going into the red like that, but it's a bit down. So now when I play these two together, I've got much more I can play with. Creatively, it's a poor example, of course. I just did it off the cuff, but you get the idea. The gain control is for getting the thing you've got coming through this channel to the right volume. And if that thing happens to be an instant a cappella that you've made from a loop, and you're just wanting to play a little sound effect or something off a track, then use the gain control. Get it nice and high. Remember to turn it down again, of course, before you mix the full track in, or else it will come in very loud. That's where the meters are going to help you. So the third little tip, and this is one that I find myself doing a lot as a DJ, so I want to pass this one on to you, is when you're playing like open format, you're playing radio mixes, you're playing 3-minute versions of songs, and nowadays it's become fashionable again, it always was, it's become fashionable again to have songs that fade out, right? The song goes verse, chorus, fade, or whatever. That fade out can sometimes catch you out because you're quick mixing into another song, you've got them both playing together, and you think this sounds good, only that the song that you've got on deck number one that's disappearing from the mix starts to fade out, right? Well, this is where the power of the gain controls come in, because these have got an amplification built in. So if you turn this gain control, as this track is fading out, you turn the gain control all the way up, what you're effectively doing is keeping it at the same volume. And so it just buys you a few extra seconds in a transition for the outgoing fading track to actually sound loud enough so your audience can hear it. It makes your beat mix sound longer and more accomplished and smoother. So there's another tip there. So really, this is all about using your gain because you understand what it's for now. Actually taking that second to balance it on the VU meters, number one. Number two, don't be scared to use the gain to balance what you are putting into it. So just because you're putting a whole track in, if the only thing you're doing is isolating a little bit of a vocal and using that as a loop in your mixing or whatever on deck 3 or deck 4 or just creatively, then gain stage that. Get that nice and loud. It's okay to use the gain controls. It's okay to push them. They don't all have to be sat there at exactly 11 o'clock for you to be DJing properly. Far from it. And thirdly, if you are playing, as I do a lot, open format, 3-minute pop songs, 2.5-minute pop songs, and they're fading out and your mix is sounding good, you just want to keep a bit of the outgoing song, then just turn the gain control up to compensate for the fade on the song. It's a trick that I see DJs doing over and over again. If you've enjoyed this quick tip, then do come and grab a copy of our book. It's free to our channel subscribers. So all you've got to do is click the link underneath or look at the QR code and the URL to my side now, and we will give you a copy of Rock the Dance Floor, the best-selling book on Amazon on how to DJ with modern DJ gear. You can buy this on Amazon, you can get it on Kindle and Audible and all that stuff, but we'll give you a copy of it just for signing up. So come do that now. I hope you found this useful. Do let me know your tips, tricks, techniques, and anything you think I've missed about the gain control, the level control, the trim control, whatever you call it, in the comments underneath. But meanwhile, from me, Phil, here in the Digital DJ Tips DJ School studio, get good, get out there, make the moments, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.